Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Armando with the HiFi Brothers. Are you looking to start your record collection? Well, I have 8 80s movie soundtracks that you should get your hands on. Let's get to it. Alright guys, well for the first time ever, I'm recording a video at my place. As you can see from the background here, that's my Vintage Hifi Setup. Just giving you a little sneak peek. I'll get into another video highlighting some of the components I have. But right now, I wanted to bring you a quick video about some 80s movie soundtracks that I absolutely love and I grew up to as I was a kid. I was able to get them from shopping at the local record store, garage sales, eBay. If there was 8 soundtracks in my collection that I wanted to highlight, these are the ones that we're gonna go to. So, number 1, Beverly Hills Cop. If you haven't seen this movie, I definitely recommend it. It's one of Eddie Murphy's best films, early 80s, but one of the tracks is called the Axel F. You're probably very familiar with it. Uses music synthesizers, which is commonly known in the 80s genre. I would highly encourage you guys grab your hands on this. Absolutely great album to listen to from front to back. Number 2, Goonies. Very familiar movie. I'm sure a lot of you have seen it. If you haven't, definitely recommend it. It was huge when I was a kid when it came out. If you watch this one and Stranger Things, you'll probably notice some similarities where kids are on their bikes, riding through the neighborhood, getting into mischief, going on adventures. This was a huge movie when it came out for us and my friends. We did, pretty much the same thing. We got on our bikes looking for buried treasure, making stuff up as we went, using our imagination. Fantastic film, highly recommend it. Movie soundtrack is just as good. If there was one song on here that I would highlight, it's the one by Cyndi Lauper, which is good enough. But yeah, this is a must pick up, so I would add this to your collection for sure. All right, number 3, Transformers the movie. Now we're not talking the Bayformers here, we're talking the original G1 cartoon movie that came out in 1986. I was 7 years old when this movie came out. My dad took me and cried throughout the movie because, as you guys know, please skip this part for spoilers, Optimus Prime dies. I think any kid grew up in the 80s and loved Transformers. This movie is still a fantastic cartoon for part of the G1 series. Soundtrack is just as great. Yeah, the one by Lion, which is the Transformers theme that they did, was really good. Stan Bush is also on here for those of you familiar. These are just some of the soundtracks or songs on here that I play over and over again, and even my kids actually love them today. So definitely recommend this album. Okay, number 4, Top Gun. I'm sure everybody's seen this movie. Super popular, huge in the 80s, great soundtrack. From the first side to the second side, Kenny Loggins, obviously. Danger Zone is probably the most popular. Take My Breath Away by Berlin is another huge song here that everybody will probably recognize. Yeah, this is definitely one that I would add to your collection. All right, number 5, Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. Now, I know for you, if you're a Trekkie out there, Star Trek 2 is the best Star Trek movie ever made. I definitely agree. However, I would say that Star Trek 3's music soundtrack is the best of the entire series. This one is exceptional from the other ones. Same composer from Star Trek 2, James Horner, did a fantastic job on this one as well. Yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen this film, a part of the Star Trek series, I would definitely see it. Probably not the most popular, but I would watch this film. Soundtrack is phenomenal. That's probably one of the highlights of the film that I would say that made the movie just so much better. All right, number 6, Labyrinth. It's a very common part of the 80s, which was that fantasy genre. Labyrinth is one of those that stick out as one of the best of that genre. Features David Bowie, who a lot of you are familiar as an artist. And yeah, the soundtrack is fantastic. I definitely would recommend it. I mean, the movie is great. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely do it. Jim Henson does a great job with the animatronics in that one. That's what probably stands out from the film. But the soundtrack just adds to the movie in general. So I was glad to pick this up. I had to add this to my collection, so that's my other one. Number 7, Flashdance. Great, great soundtrack. Believe it or not, I've only seen this movie a couple of times, but the soundtrack is what stands out to me. Pretty good film from what I remember. It's been a while since I watched it, but it's pretty popular. A lot of people have watched this even today. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you would recognize the Flashdance song or What a Feeling. Probably the most popular song from the soundtrack. But yeah, I would definitely add this to your collection. All right, and number 8. Iron Eagle, another airplane movie. It's kind of the B-movie version of Top Gun, just because Top Gun was the higher budget film. But I actually like Iron Eagle as a movie better. I don't know why, but it just resonated with me more when I was a kid, just because it involved kids in general. So they try to capitalize on, I believe, the younger audience with this one as opposed to Top Gun, where that was just more of a wider range. But the Iron Eagle soundtrack is very good. Queen stands out the most with One Vision on this one, as well as Dio. And I would say Adrenaline is the other one. Road of the Gypsy is a fantastic song. The only thing that I am kind of upset about with this album is it doesn't feature every song that is in the actual Iron Eagle movie. So what's missing is Twisted Sister, We're Not Gonna Take It, that's missing from this one, as well as a bunch of other songs that were very popular and actually were pretty kick-ass in that movie. It just feels incomplete to me. But even without those songs, it's still a pretty good soundtrack. You can listen to this from front to back. Overall, I think you should definitely add this one to your collection, especially if you grew up watching these movies, or if you're somebody who's getting into watching, 80s movies in general. I would add this to your list. Well, and that's pretty much it. Reason why I went with 8 movie soundtracks. My brother, if you didn't see his video, and I'll put a card up here right now, he just did 8 must-watch war movies, and yeah, I just decided to go with 8 too, so I'm just copying him. If you're looking to start your record collection and want to add a specific genre, I think the 80s movie soundtrack is highly recommended. But yeah, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification button, and as always, keep it hi-fi.